Hello everyone and welcome to the new tutorial of Abacus. In this tutorial we'll see sequential construction in detail with a very small problem so that one can learn how to start this sequential construction using model change method in implicit analysis. So you can see here I have opened the output database file. It starts with a single layer. In a geostatic step there are zero stresses, and as it goes up basically starts building the upper layers, the stresses gets developed, and it goes like that. So basically what we are seeing here is that sequential layer by layer construction, and this greener bluer part shows a small failure. So we'll see how can we model this kind of sequential construction in Abacus. So let's just start. Let's just go to the uh, create a new model. So I'm going to create a new model, standard explicit model. In this model I will start with a 2D part. I'm just going to call it soil 2D deformable shell and approximate size of 10. So generally you can have any approximate size, but my model is very small, so I'm going for that one. Generally when I have a large model I can go with 200 or 300 as well. So we can, what we want to do is that we want to create 3 layers first in this part itself. So we'll uh, create a line segment and it will be of 5-meter length, like that. Another line segment of 4 meter, and another line segment of 3 meter. So here is a 1 by 1 step, 1 meter by 1 meter height and landing step which we will be creating here. So let's create a 1 meter, uh, sorry, 1 meter high long line in vertical line, so 1 meter. Now we'll keep on copying this line here first, then copy this here, then copy this here. Now we one by one move sorry, let's just copy this line again here and again here. So yeah, now we can start moving these sections on top of each other. So first the topmost, sorry, this done, and this point here. So that way we can just build our steps. Now we'll move like that. Now I guess we are almost ready, so we'll erase all the parts. I'm guessing this one, and now we close the section. Yeah, so as you can see we have our model. Now we'll create partitions to this model because we want to create different layers. So this is the partition which we create, as you can see. So partitioning this sketch will basically add them to this actual part. Now after the part we'll go to property module. We'll create a material called soil, because that's what we want to create for this section, assuming an embankment of soil and more column plastic density, elasticity, more column plasticity, and porosity based on permeability based on let's say kind of sandy soil. So 1 E minus 5 and void ratio of 0.9 will do for the sand, and wetting liquid specific weight will be water, so 9810 kilonewton per meter cube, or basically generally the density of water times G. G is 9.81. So all the units which we are using are in meter Newton and kilograms. So just remember that in your back of your head. 35 will be the friction angle, dilation angle we can assume as 5, cohesion, let's take a slightly larger value of 5000, and not will not using tension cutoff for now. In elastic metal model, we can use 30 megapascal of Young's modulus Poisson's ratio of 0.45, which generally most of the soils in sandy group have, and a mass density of 1800 kilogram per meter cube. That will do the job, I guess. And after the soil section, we'll assign this section to this whole layer, call it set 1, and we'll first create a section on the go. This section will be solid homogeneous, we'll call it soil, although it's 2D part, but solid homogeneous section will do the job for this. So here we have created. Now most people confuse themselves when they try to create a different kind of section which are applicable to this kind of part. So let me tell you, a shell homogeneous section will also work in this kind of sorry, not shell but solid generalized plane stress sections will also work. So you have to be very careful. You have to apply solid homogeneous section to even 2D geometries. So after this property assignment, we'll go to assembly. We'll move this soil into the assembly, and after that we can go to step module, because this is a geotechnical consolidation problem. So we'll start with geostatic step. We'll call it GS and click on continue. You can use nonlinear geometry on if you are expecting very large deformation. Safe in that way. We can use the unsymmetric metric storage because this kind of problems require that, so we'll go with that. Now we have two layers with us. We can see this one, the middle one and the top one. So we have to create two steps for their sequential construction. So we'll call L1 and we'll use soil steps. We assume that we are creating this layers in 1 hour interval. So 1 hour for in second will be 3600. So we'll use 3600 time period, and the incrementation will start with 1, minimum incrementation will be again 1, maximum will be 360, and number of increment, let's increase them to 10,000, and maximum pore water pressure you can start with 10,000, value of 10,000. And in the other part, in the calculation measures, we'll use unsymmetric metric storage. You can use ramp linearly over time for the load, but I am going for the instantaneous right now. Maybe if we face any problem, we can change it to ramp linearly over time. So now we will create a similar step. We'll call it L2 soils. Nothing different here, almost the same as previous. 1 1 360, increase some time increments, and maximum pore water pressure change will be 10,000 Pascal or 10 kPa. Unsymmetric, instantaneous, and go. Yeah, so we have created two soils steps. Now maybe we want to change the field output of this step to at every 1/10 of the size of the step, 360 second. At every 360 second we want the output to show, so that we won't miss anything. And in the history output we do the same thing. At 360 second we want our output to show, because in an hour 3600 seconds are there. So at every like 10th interval we want to see the output, and we want to reduce the output size. We can remove this energy output request. So click on OK and dismiss it. We have, after creating the step, we'll go to interaction. Before going to interaction, because we need to assign the different sets which this geometry or part has to be created for further process. We'll go to set, because we need to assign this middle layer and top layer. They are different sets. So we'll create set here. We'll call L1 first. This one will be L1. Click on done. Now create another L2. Yeah, this is done, and we'll call a fixed set, because we want to fix the geometry from the bottom. So click on done, and we want to create a roller set. So we can apply this roller boundary condition at once. What you can do is that you can also apply this roller boundary condition, sorry, select the middle layer, sorry. Yeah, so one more thing which you can do is that you can apply a roller boundary condition as the step progresses, but it doesn't basically change anything. So we have our set fixed L1 L2 roller. So now we'll create a deact set, because we need to deactivate these two layers in the geostatic step. After that we'll be activating them. So that's all. Now we'll go to interaction module. We'll go to model change. We'll use the model change condition in a geostatic step. We'll call it D1. We'll click on model change and click on continue. We'll select the region first. With us we have soils deact. So we'll deactivate this in this step, and later on we can just copy this step and we'll call it L1, start it from the L1, and click on edit. Now the region which we want to reactivate is soil L1. So you can see the highlighted section, it will be activated in this step, and everything is fine. You won't want to check this box, reactivate element in this trend, although more precisely it will behave than when we do it, but it will generally cause failure. So if you are doing a basic analysis, you just want to have the strains which come with the activation, general activation. Now again copy this and call it L2, start it from the step L2. This model change condition will activate the last or topmost step, which is L2. Click on continue, click on OK. So now we have done the model change procedure completely. Now we'll go to load module and we'll create a gravity step in our L1 step. So gravity. You can also create your gravity in your geostatic step if you feel it's safer to go that way, but in geostatic maybe you want or you don't want, but any case we are using gravity from the L1 step. So click on continue. Gravity will be in -9.81 meter per second square in the component 2 direction, or basically negative y direction, as you can see here, and it will be applied instantaneously. Click on OK. Now we'll apply the boundary condition. We need 3 boundary conditions here. The first one is PWP, pore water pressure. Actually we have forgotten to create a set for PWP, so we'll just cancel it. Now we'll go to create set here. Again we'll call it PWP. Now for the pore water pressure release, we assume that this vertical sides all will release the pore water pressure, and this slant sides might also be can be used for the release of pore water pressure. Now we'll again go to load and application of boundary condition, this PWP, and we'll start it from the initial step itself. PWP condition will be 0 pore water pressure, and now we'll create the symmetry anti-symmetry or fixed boundary condition for the bottom part. So bottom section of the part in caster, and we'll create the roller boundary for the side vertical boundary. So we'll select the roller. We don't want any displacement in U1 direction, so you click on U1 and remain other box unchecked. Now dismiss this, and we can see that we have to go to mesh section. Now in the meshing, what we'll do here is that we have to mesh it according to sorry, we'll go to part module now. We have to mesh it according to pore water pressure, so that the pore water pressure stress and normal stresses both can be calculated. So we have to change the element type of this whole set to pore fluid and pore stress or pore stress. So we'll click on just OK, and it says that tri-shape it is the meshing is not possible for this specific kind of mechanism. So maybe we want to use quadratic mesh. Let's try. Yeah, quadratic mesh works here. So let's just dismiss this. Linear mesh might not normally work in some cases. So with the quadratic mesh size of 0.5, we will mesh this whole diagram, whole part. And after meshing, I guess we haven't missed anything. Yeah, we have missed the predefined field condition. There are several categories which you can use here. First one is the void ratio. So for the set one, I am using void ratio of 0.9. One more thing which you can do is that you can create a geostatic stress which I'm not using. Let's just use it. Let me also tell you how we can use geostatic stress for the whole thing. So as you can see here, we don't have the coordinates with us now, but once we go to assembly we can change it. But just assume that the bottommost point is the origin. So if you assume the vertical coordinate of origin, stress magnitude at vertical coordinate, so assume this top coordinate as vertical coordinate, basically as 1 to 3 meter. So vertical coordinate of 3 meter, the stress magnitude will be 0. And once we go down, the stress coordinate will be gamma times the height. Height will be 3 meter and gamma is about 1800. So 18 times 3, 54000. So that's what stress magnitude will be, but it will be negative. Okay, so negative 54000 and vertical coordinate of 3. Oh, sorry, 0. So that's what we will use this boundary condition. So at this point, the lateral pressure, the basic vertical force will be due to the soil load will be minus 5400 because it will be coming into negative y direction and so on. And lateral coefficient you can take 0.5 or 1. So I am taking 1 here and click on OK. So you can use it either or in that any case the analysis will run for this job. So now we'll go to assembly and we have to situate this point to the origin because that's what we want to do. So select all and this point will be origin. So that's what we wanted to do. Yeah. Now we can just go to job and we can just delete this job and we can create a new job. I call it test 1 and parallelization will be 4. First we'll submit it for the data check and see if the data check runs properly or not, and we'll see if the data check passes or not in some time. So as you can see, the check has been completed and let's just monitor it if we have any errors or not. I guess there are a lot of warnings. The warnings are not very serious ones. So we'll submit this job and see if this runs and gives us the proper results or not. So after some time we'll check if the run is complete or not. So as you can see, the job has been aborted after the geostatic step. So we'll see what is the problem and we'll again check it out. So generally this abortion of this job generally means that we might have done some blunders in the step module itself. So let's just go back to the step module and see if we have done any problematic things here. So let's just go with the ramp linearly over time because maybe the gravity will be falling too hard on this surface. So let's just submit it again and check it out if it runs or not. Maybe the failure will give us more learning than the actual run. So let's just wait. So as you can see, there was a mistake in our model. It again aborted. So let me just give some quick run around. So basically what we did earlier was that from instantaneous to ramp linearly over time. So let's just change this to instantaneous. And what we can do here is that I actually forgot to calculate properly the value of load, and also the gravity we have to start from the geostatic if we are applying geostatic stress in the predefined field conditions. So that's what I have done here. So I have moved the gravity loading from geostatic steps. So in geostatic step itself, the gravity will apply. and the geostatic stress, as we have done earlier, it should be 5400 only, not the 54000, because that means that our height is 30 meter. So we don't want to apply that much overburden to only 3 meter high embankment height. So I guess that will do the job, because that's what I have seen. Everything else we have done fine. So nothing to do. There is nothing to do in the step module for now. The pore water pressure conditions are good enough to handle the large deformations like this much, and unsymmetric and everything else. Instantaneous default load variation is good. But just one thing you need to remember here is that when you apply gravity loading uh, with geostatic predefined field, geostatic stress as predefined field, you have to use the gravity loading from geostatic step itself. So now let's run the job and see if this turnaround, sorry, this tweak works for us or not. So you can see that the job has been completed. Now we'll go to monitor. It is a slightly different from the previous job, maybe because I forgot what the actual elasticity and plasticity values are. But anyway, we'll see the results. It should be almost the same. As you can see, the stress fields are developing like that with the inclusion of each layer. Now we'll see the deformation. Deformation is also like starting to increase on the side of failure. And from the previous model, it has been improved slightly. As you can see, it is showing more proper behavior. Maybe in this part, because of the inclusion of geostatic stresses, this is showing little bit better results. In my previous ODB file, which I showed in the starting of the video, I have not done a lot of things because I just wanted to show you while hands-on. So that's how you can model basically sequential construction of an embankment or anything. You can also add reinforcement agents like geogrid or geosynthetics in the middle, and you can activate and apply the boundary conditions on the go or directly onto them. So I will finish my video here, and if you have doubt, let me know in the comments. Thank you.